So this video is going to be about what it's like to have a rape kit. Now, hopefully no one needs to personally go through a rape kit, but in case you were wondering how it goes and what are the things that they do, this video is catered to that. Hopefully if it helps, and hopefully you won't need it ever. And if it applies to somebody else, please share this video. So yeah. And I would advise, if you are a person who may need a rape kit, to not go alone, to go with someone that you trust and someone who will be there to support you if ever you do need a rape kit. So a rape kit is a forensic exam that specializes in collecting evidence from a rape. And in this exam, there are checklists that needs to be completed. It comes with special materials that are going to be used on the victim to collect evidence. Some of these materials I will be talking about in this video. There will also be containers and envelopes to collect these materials to be analyzed by specialists. A rape kit is known as sexual assault evidence kit. So these are the things I'm going to be listed. I have my laptop right here. So if you see me looking down, I'm actually looking at my laptop and I'm letting you know what it says on the organization's website. Bags and paper sheets for evidence collected. Combs to comb through. Documentation forms. Envelopes. Instructions. Materials for blood samples. And swabs. Now, to prepare for the exam, it is best that a person who has been raped or violated, that you do not take a shower, to essentially be left as is after the assault, because the more evidence that they can collect, the better it is that it can be used in cases like the prosecution case, or to find a DNA hit. Maybe this is a serial rapist, and with more evidence and more DNA, the better it is for the DNA system to get a hit and find the person who has violated you and get them off the street. So anything like bathing, showering, even using the restroom, changing clothes, combing hair, and cleaning up the area where the assault took place could potentially damage evidence and is not advised to do. But you can bring a spare set of clothes to the hospital when they are doing the exam. Well, that's fine, but just right after it happens, it is best that you keep everything the way it is, because the more that they can keep the site pure, the better it is that they can catch the person who did it, if you don't know who did it. The best time to get the most evidence is within 72 hours, and that's like 3 days. So in between those 3 days, that's the best evidence, that's the best collection of DNA that they can get. And if you do it immediately, that's great, but in between that time frame, 72 hours is the best for them to use the DNA, to examine the DNA, and possibly get a hit. They'll advise you to place your clothing that you were wearing during the assault or before the assault in a brown paper bag, and that will be collected to take to the crime lab so they can run DNA on that. Now, the exam in itself takes a couple of hours, so it will be a long, lengthy process, but I see why it would be long and lengthy, because you want everything to be thoroughly done, and it may be very invasive to be naked, to be probed, but like I said, the best evidence they can get, the best DNA that they can get, the better it is to finding this person. And it also depends on many factors of why it takes so long. And you could also call 1-800-656-HOPE, and you could speak to a person who can walk you through what to expect, how it's done, when can you come in, office support, the local hospital that could help you with getting a rape kit done, so they know thorough information, and I will definitely include their number in this video. And if you do call this number, the person who helps you out is called an advocate, and this advocate is the only person that could be in a room. But like I said, you can bring someone to come in and support you, but if you do decide to report the rape as a crime, whoever you bring in the exam with you to go through the rape kit to give you moral support, that person may be called on during the investigation to speak on your behalf as a witness. Now, this is what they thoroughly say that what goes on during the exam. Immediate care, that's just immediate bruises, immediate issues, immediate cuts that they see. They will be taking care of that first. They will ask you about your history, your medical history, if there's any illnesses in your family. Kind of like when you get an annual exam, they'll be asking you like basically the same questions. But some of the questions besides, medical history, any conditions in your family, they'll be asking you about your sexual history as well. And they will ask you to go through the rape because there may be bruises or punctuations in other places that you weren't sure. So they will ask you thoroughly what had happened, your medical history, your sexual activity. So it's going to be you're going to be very vulnerable, and they're going to basically go into everything to get the perpetrator who committed the crime. So you will be going through a head-to-toe examination, and this means mouth, vagina, and or anus. This may include blood samples, urine, swab of your body surface areas, and sometimes hair samples. And there may be photographs taken. There definitely will be documentation about what has gone on, what they see, what they observe. And with your permission, they may collect articles of clothing and anything else that is physical evidence that they could be used to take to the crime lab, or anything that could help find the perpetrator. Now, this part of the exam is called mandatory reporting, and my mandatory reporting is if there's any type of abuse, any type of misconduct, if there's any type of neglect to a person who is under the age of 18. Mandatory reporting basically means that it has to go to the police. So if a person has been raped and they're under the age of 18, if you do go to the hospital, it has to be reported. And like I said, it is to help you. It is to benefit you. It is not to mark you. It's not to get you in trouble. It's not to blast you. It's to help you. And that's just the law. And follow-up care is if they find anything, like say, for example, during the assault, you get an STI, they will help you with that. They'll help you with medication. They'll help you with even counseling and trauma counseling if you choose to go that route. They may also provide you survivors counseling, where you are part of a group of people who have been assaulted, and you do counseling and you kind of help heal each other and have a supportive system. It depends on where you live, but they're most likely than not going to be programs where you are not alone, and there are people who understand what you went through and they're here to support you. Now, this is the kind of bummer part about it, because not every hospital has staff who are specialists at rape kits, unfortunately, which I kind of feel like you're a hospital, you should at least have a couple people on site that do know how to do rape kits. I mean, it happens, and because they do thorough DNA collecting evidence, they should have someone in the hospital who, the hospital works with DNA and whatnot. Why don't every hospital have someone staffed? But when you do call 1-800-656-HOPE, they do have a database of hospitals that do have staffs there that can do rape kits and have done rape kits. Now, the people who do rape kits, also known as sexual assault forensic exams, ZANs, and ZANs are sexual assault nurse examiners. These are registered nurses who have specialized education doing rape kits and fulfilled clinical requirements for them to be able to perform rape kits. So you're in good hands when these nurses do help you and do perform the rape kit. And other people who will help you along the process are called SAFEs. And SAFEs are sexual assault forensic examiners, who are health care providers who are trained in doing rape kits. So those are also other people who are going to be in a room, and people who are also going to be collecting evidence for the crime lab. And for people who are questioning if this is a good route to go, if you should do it, a couple of questions that might go through your mind, and these will be the answers that kind of give you encouragement to go and get a rape kit done. It won't cost you anything. A rape kit is completely free. And no one should try to charge you for it either. The Violence Against Women Act is an act that requires all states to provide sexual assault forensic exams for free of charge if they wish to remain getting anti-crime funding. So if they want the anti-crime funding, they have to be able to provide rape kits for free. And if you are ever charged or scared into paying for a rape kit, a group that you can contact in your local state that is called the Sexual Assault Service Provider. So if you contact them, the Sexual Assault Service Provider, because you were going to go for a rape kit or you went for a rape kit and you were charged, they will definitely handle the matter because, like I said, it's totally free. And when it comes to a rape kit, you have time to decide. Like I said, it is best that you get it done within 72 hours. But if you want time to just think and breathe about what happened, you also have that luxury too. And when it comes to reporting, you don't have to report right away. When evidence is collected, it is stored. So if you want to think about should you report it, you don't have to actually do it that day that it is done, meaning the assault, or when the rape kit is done. You could actually have time to press charges if you choose to. And also that it increases the chance of prosecution because DNA evidence is so prevalent and it's so heavy. You really can't go against it in court. I mean, you really can't say that you weren't there, but your DNA is there and it does work in your favor. So if you're ever worried that, oh, it's because this person has so-and-so title and this person is viewed a certain way, when you do have DNA evidence, it kind of shuts down everything and it makes you really see it's for the crime that it is. There's no way in escaping you doing something and saying I wasn't there or I didn't do it when your DNA was there. And lastly, it's your health. I mean, something so traumatic as being assaulted, sexually assaulted, needs to be taken care of. Not only the physical, but the mental. So getting it done and even going as far as prosecution, putting charges on that person is best. And like I said, during the exam, you do have a support system. You do have people who have resources and programs who are going to help you. So it's not just you doing it alone. You have other people who are there to reassure you that we are here to take care of you. You just don't know what could have come from the assault. Some people do end up getting pregnant from the assault. Some people end up getting STIs or STDs. It's very important that after assault to get checked. Even if you don't want to press charges, at least you know what's going on with your body. How long will evidence be stored? Evidence is stored depending on your state and your jurisdiction. And a law enforcement officer should let you know how long that DNA can stay and will be reserved. Each state has a rules of disposing the kit. So that basically means each state has how many years that they could store the DNA evidence and how they will basically dispose of the kit. And it's also good to mention that the time that the DNA evidence is in evidence doesn't necessarily mean that it will be the same length that the prosecution is, meaning that you can get the DNA kit and it could be thorough and you can have all this evidence and you still may not find the perpetrator until 20 years later. And depending on your state, evidence could be stored for 7 years, 10 years, and then it's disposed of, but 20 years later they might find the perpetrator. And this is also known as the statute of limitations. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or anything related to getting a rape kit done, Zans, safes, anything, you can contact 1-800-656-HOPE. And if you have anything regarding specifically to your jurisdiction, your state, the statutes of limitations, you can definitely contact your local sexual assault service provider. And you can find out where to get all that information at RAINN. The RAINN stands for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, and they can help you out. So that is an organization, RAINN.org. So you can find all that information. Hopefully this information will help you if you do end up getting sexually assaulted. If you had been sexually assaulted, if this information can help someone else, please pass on this video. If you have any tips or questions, concerns, anything, leave your comments below. Comment, rate, subscribe. Be blessed, and I'm out.